Guys, my name is Sarbi and I am back with the next video in the series. Today we are going to talk about articling process in Ontario. Also, before I start, I want to apologize for not posting anything in last 3 weeks. A lot happened in last 3 weeks. Good stuff, bad stuff. Bad stuff is that I injured my leg, which is why I'm sitting on my bed right now, and that's really uncomfortable and awkward, but can't help it. I am technically on bed rest right now, but I really wanted to post this video now, so here I am, and let's talk articling. I almost never say that right, but anyways, before we start, just a usual warning, there are other people in the house and there's a 4-year-old in the house, so if you hear any background noises, please excuse them. Also, I haven't gone out of the house for a long time and I spend most of my time sitting in one place, so I am really low on energy, but I'll try to keep this video as interesting as possible. Moving on, articling is the process that comes after you're done with your NCEA exams. So once you have your certificate of qualification from the National Committee on Accreditation, that is when you become eligible for articling. But that does not mean that you actually have to wait until your certificate of qualification to apply for articling positions. So first of all, the timeline to apply is I would suggest start as early as possible, at least 8 months or at least minimum 6 months. So 8 to 6 months prior to the time when you anticipate getting your certificate of qualification, which means if you're an LLM-CL candidate, I would say wait until your first term is over and you have your transcripts, at least one transcript for your first term. So because you will have to include that in your application package. So it's a good idea to wait until you have at least your first transcripts and then you start applying for articling. And you will still have, so if you're starting in fall, you will have your first transcript by January of the year when you want to start your articling. So and you finish your program in August, so you still have 8 months. So start from January of that same year. If you're an NCA candidate, I would say at least start 6 months prior, or when you are done with most of your NCA courses, so that you can tell the employer that, hey, I'll be done and I'll definitely have my certificate of qualification by the time the articling is supposed to commence. So that it's a good time to start. Another thing is I am going to primarily talk about Ontario because that is where I did my articling, even though I studied in British Columbia, because this is the process I am aware of and I know very well, which brings me to the $1,000,000 question that I get all the time, that why did I move from British Columbia to Ontario, and if there was any special reason involved, and is Ontario better than British Columbia? Honestly, guys, it was a bad decision. Not because Ontario is not a good place or anything like that. Both places are really amazing. The reason why I'm saying it wasn't a good decision is because when I started networking from the very first month when I was starting my LLM-CL program, and over the year I built this amazing network, and I was expecting to get 1 year of work permit. So I was in a very desperate situation. I was like, I'll go get only 1 year of work permit and I have to find articling, complete my articling within that 1 year. So I was losing patience and I was meeting a lot of people, and it was a popular opinion at that time that, since Ontario has a bigger job market, why don't you move there? It might be easier to find something there. And I just packed my bags and moved. And when I moved to Ontario, I realized that maybe I made a mistake, because I left my whole network behind and I did not know anybody in Ontario, no friends, no family, no professional network at all. So I had to start from scratch, and I kind of lost 3 to 4 months there. So what I'm trying to say here is stick to the province where you're studying. So if you're studying at UBC, or if you're studying in British Columbia, stick to British Columbia. Or if you're studying in Ontario, stick to Ontario at least for a while. Just until you can make sure that you're not finding anything here, and now you definitely want to move to another place and try finding something there. Because I think, if you I personally feel like if I would have stayed in BC for another, couple months, I would have found something. But I could see that, by the time I could see that, it was really late. So yeah, that's my advice for you. Stick to the province where you're studying, whatever province that may be. Moving on, the duration for articling in Ontario is 10 months. And along with your articling, you have to complete your 2-bar exams. So when you enroll yourself in the lawyer licensing process in Ontario, you have a total of 3 years to complete your articling as well as your 2-bar exams. That is the barrister licensing exam and the solicitor licensing exam. So you can take the exams before articling, during articling, after articling, totally up to you. I would highly recommend that, if you're done with your law school and your NCAs and you're still looking for articling, and you have that time in between your articling and your NCAs, try and study for the bar exams and get done with the bar exams before your articling, because articling is hectic and it gets really difficult at some point to study with your articling. And also, you don't want to be in a position where you're done with your articling but you're still have your bar exams to complete. So again, it depends on everybody's situation, but yeah, my recommendation would be get done with the bar exams before your articling. The biggest challenge that I think the NCA or LLMCL candidates face is the recruitment timelines. So most of the big firms, boutique firms, and also some of the smaller law firms, they all follow law society timelines, which is basically the recruitments for articling positions take place a year in advance. So for example, I came to Canada in August 2016, end of August 2016, because my program was starting in September 2016, and I wanted articling starting from August 2017. But for that year, the articling position starting from August 2017, the recruitment was already done by early August 2016, so before I came to Canada. So when you're coming to Canada in fall or anytime after August, it becomes really tricky, because the year when you want your articling position, the recruitment is already done before you even entered Canada. But that doesn't mean that you will not find articling for that year, because there are a lot of firms that do not follow this timeline, and they do hire in the same year when you want your articling position. So you just have to keep your eyes open for any positions that are coming up throughout the year, and also for that year when you want to article. So I would suggest looking for articling positions outside of GTA. I understand Toronto and working in Greater Toronto area is very fascinating, but if you're open to and willing to move to other places, there are so many other places like London, Hamilton, Kitchener, Windsor, Ottawa, Kingston. There are so many places. So just be aware of the geography and see the places where you can, you're able and willing to move for articling positions. It might be easier and quicker to find articling in those places. And also, this is where networking comes into picture. Networking plays a huge role in your articling search. So that is how I found my articling position. That is how I got to know about the position I applied for in London. So I made this friend through networking, and he lived in London, and he told me that there was this lawyer who was looking for an articling student, but he only posted the position in London itself and not outside of London. So I approached the law firm and I sent out my application materials, went through the interview process and got the position. But if I had not known that person, I would have had no idea about this position. So there are a lot of lawyers who who are very experienced, and they're like great places to work. They are great people to work for, but they post positions only locally. So the wider your network is, the easier it becomes to get to know about these positions. In terms of places where you can look for articling positions, there's VI Law Portal, which is especially for these kind of job positions. There's Indeed, there's Wow Jobs, there's LinkedIn Jobs, there's Google Jobs, and most importantly, if you're an LLMCL student, make sure you register for the career portal of your law school, because law school job boards definitely have all these positions listed. So it's a very good resource to have. Other than that, what you can do is send out cold applications. So cold applications are basically you're applying for unposted positions. So let's say this XYZ firm I am interested in. I would go to their career section, see if they have given any details that, if I want to send out an application, who should I address my application to and where should I send it? Or sometimes, law firms have inbuilt applications on their website where you can just go and fill the form and submit your application package. If you don't have any of those, go to, just find a senior partner that you may like usually websites here are very good and they always provide contact information. So if you can find an email address for a senior partner, or if there's a firm's the law firm's general email for, sometimes it's for info or reception, whatever you can find, but definitely make sure you have a contact person where you're addressing the application to. So basically, if you can find a partner whose email address is given, address the application to the partner and send it to the partner. If you cannot find the email address for a partner, address it to the senior partner and send it to the general email ID for the firm. But definitely, don't just write dear sir or ma'am. Address your application to someone and in your email. So again, let's talk about the articling package first. So in your application package, you have your cover letter, your resume. Cover letter, not more than 1 page. Resume, not more than 2 pages. Then you have your transcripts. If you're if you're an international student, and your transcript. So for example, my transcript in front, it has all my grades, and at the back of my transcript there's this description for what each grade stands for. So if your transcript has those grade descriptions, I would say scan both sides of your transcript and include both those pages, just to make it easier for the employer to understand what the grades mean in terms of your foreign education and in comparison to your the scores in or grading system in Canada. So add your transcripts on number 3, and then your references if you have any. In terms of your references, if you can find someone, so there has to be, it's a good idea to include 2 reference letters, one from a professor maybe at your Canadian university. If you're not going through the LLMCL process but you're working for someone, get a reference letter from your employer in the legal industry. If you're volunteering somewhere, get a reference letter from your supervisor, but only include Canadian reference letters. So this is your application package. And so moving back to the cold application, when you're sending, this is your package, standard package for, doesn't matter if you're applying to posted positions, unposted positions, this is how your package should be. And this whole thing has to be in one single PDF. So don't attach like 5 separate PDFs. Convert everything into a PDF, club it together in one PDF, and then, send out your merge document. Always title it as including your name. So I would title my application package as Surbhi Pathak hyphen application for articling position at the firm's name. So create your application package, and in your cold application you will attach this package and just write down that it has to be, so you're listing out all the details in your cover letter, but your cold application email has to be short. So in your first paragraph, just briefly describe who you are. So, you're a foreign trained lawyer, what you have done, what is your qualification in Canada. In second paragraph, say why you are writing to them, why you're interested in that firm, some skills that make you a good fit for the firm. And lastly, in third paragraph, just mention that also mention that I am enclosing my resume and my application package for articling, which includes, and then list out all the documents that includes that your application package includes. And then lastly, just say that I would really, if you're hiring for if you're hiring an articling student, here is my application package. And if you're not hiring at the moment, I would highly appreciate if you can keep this application on file in case there are any future in case there are any positions that may come up in the future. So these are the core applications that you can send out to firms that you're interested in, and make sure you tailor your cover letter according to the firm and the practice area you're applying for. Lastly, I want to talk about alternatives to articling. So I know finding an articling sounds like a very overwhelming idea. So it's not like you have to find articling for sure, and there are no alternatives to it. There are definitely alternatives to articling. You can abridge your articling, you can waive your articling, and then the third option is the law practice programs. I would not suggest waiving your articling just because it's a very valuable experience, and it really helps you learn how things work in Canada. So don't waive it. Maybe if you don't want to do it for 10 months, apply for abridgment of articling. So it depends on Law Society. They will assess your work experience, and it will really depend on them how much they're how much they're reducing your articling term to. So for example, you don't want to do it for 10 months, apply for abridgment, and maybe you will have to do it for 4 months, 2 months, totally up to the Law Society and your profile. It depends on your profile, but get it abridged. Also, if you don't want the abridgment, or if you don't have any prior experience in a common law jurisdiction, then you can apply for the law practice programs. Again, I did not go through the law practice program, but I know people who have gone through the process, and I have heard great things about it. So I am trying to find someone who went through the LPP program, which is the law practice program. And if I can find someone who's willing to share their experience, then maybe I'll make another video about the LPP program or alternatives to articling, which includes waiver and abridgment process. But this video is about articling, and I think I have covered everything I wanted to talk about. As usual, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me on LinkedIn or comment on this video. I will try my best to be regular from now on in posting videos, but for this month and for next month, I cannot promise anything because, things are like a roller coaster right now with my injury, with house hunting, job hunting. There's a lot going on. So, but I really hope to see you guys soon. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me either on through the comment section on this video or LinkedIn. One thing I want to mention about LinkedIn: when you send me texts, please give me at least 2 to 3 days to get back to you, because I get so many messages and I have a lot going on, and I have, I'm taking courses and I have exams, so I may not be able to reply to you within a day or two. So at least just give me some time, please. I would really appreciate that. And I will see you guys soon, hopefully next week, but if not that, soon. So until then, take care, you guys, and stay safe, stay healthy, and see ya. Bye.